Hi, Grant Maley, Forever Health Studios. Today I'm going to take you through a fitness Pilates beginners workout. We'll start with a warm-up, some fundamental movements, and we'll go from there. We'll start off nice and comfortably on our mats. And the key here is what we're going to work on is a pelvic tilt. So the focus initially is to get that lower part of the stomach gently engaged. Looking for a neutral spine. If you're not too sure, you place your fingers underneath your lower back, and you should just be able to slide your fingers underneath that lower back with your spine in contact with your hand as well as the mat in contact with your hand. We'll take a general breath in, we'll breathe out. And what I'm looking for here is to get that engaged, and then from there I'm going to flatten my lower back. And from my tilt, I'm going to allow us to gently lift that lower back just off the floor. Slowly lowering back down. We'll breathe out again. Okay, if you're getting a 10 to 20% contraction in that lower part of that spine, just gently lifting up that lower back, and then nice and slowly returning back to neutral. If you're not too sure, place your hand underneath your lower back to make sure you get your spine back into neutral position. Breathe out. From there, just gently lift. As if you imagine you're just gently tucking your hips just under. If you had a tail, you'd bring the tail towards you, and then nice and slowly return back to a neutral position. Once you've done that a few times, you're creating a nice lovely stretch to that lower back, but please make sure that it stays gentle. Overstretching the lower back can cause the brain to try and protect it because the body's not prepared for such a big stretch. We're going to grab the back of that right leg, and from that position just gently lift up and down. Now really, from a stretch point of view, a 4 to 5 out of 10 stretch is really good because the body is more likely to accept it rather than protect it. So if you find something feeling really sore and really tight, it's excellent to move and make sure we don't overdo it too quickly. So nice and comfortably up and down. So if you want to use your breathing, breathe out to pull up, breathe in to relax back down. Breathe out and breathe in. Something with the breathing, the more you go through the classes that I'll provide, the more you get comfortable with the breathing technique as well. So breathing out to pull up, breathe in to go back down. Breathe in and breathe out. So really good for us to loosen off that lower part of that back. We're going to take our palms and just open up towards the ceiling. We're going to feel that we're lifting our chest up as much as we can. Feet, knees and hips in line. And from that position we're going to nice and gently roll from side to side. Now what I'm looking for here again is to maintain that lower back in a neutral position, but as I'm rotating right and left, I'm using my stomach to pull my knees back up. Quite often find that this one's quite easy for us just to drop right and left. Now if we keep our shoulders anchored into the floor, right shoulder down as my knees go towards the left, left shoulder down as my knees go towards the right. So you're creating the anchor as you're moving right and left, and then from there on you imagine using your pelvic floor and using your tummy to pull you back up. So controlling that lower part of the stomach, feel that just drawing that in and then pulling that back up. Really good for us to control our knees, primarily using the stomach and making sure the shoulders are engaged into the floor. Very, very good. And from there, we'll return back to center. We're going to grab the back of our leg again. This time we're going to stretch to the calf and hamstring, and then very gently lifting up, and then nice and slowly back down. If you find that you're really tight through this position and that's as high as you can go, it's absolutely fine. In time, you should be able to increase the range of motion. But like with anything, you've got to be very much consistent with how often we do our flexibility and mobility for us to improve. Breathe out and breathe in. Breathe out and breathe in. Nice and smoothly in and out. And if I bring my toes down more towards me, it will increase that stretch a lot more. But again, depending on which level of flexibility you're at, please make sure that you're working within your range of motion and the amount of tension you can take. Please swap sides, and from there we'll take the leg back down, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Fantastic. Really controlling that movement as comfortably as we can. We go a couple more. and we lower back down. What I'd like us to do is we're going to take our feet a little bit wider than we had previously, pretty much the width of your mat, unless your mat is very wide of course, just a little bit wider than your hips. So your index fingers pointing up towards the ceiling, you want your wrist fingers locked in. In that position we're just going to very gently allow your chest and head to roll right and left. What we're looking for here is to increase our mobility in the middle of our spine, known as the thoracic spine. Thoracic spine is very much fundamental for our rotation, and it's important for us to increase and keep the mobility through this part of our back. Allow your head and shoulders, if you want to go further, you can lift your head and shoulders just off the floor. We're maintaining a nice soft position through your elbows and allowing yourself to keep your knees and hips beautifully anchored into the floor. That's only if you feel that you want to increase the range. Very much be mindful that these don't start shrugging up towards your ears. Let's try and keep them a little bit lower down. I'm happy with that to be lower than too high. Keeping that spine neutral at the same time will be fantastic. And relax. We're going to go stretch out through the front of the thighs. The way we're going to do this is see if we can bring our heels as close to our glutes as possible. We're going to maintain our neutral spine position. And what I'd like us to do is what's known as a brace bridge, where we just gently draw the tummy in, very much gently tense the stomach, just nice and comfortably engaging that. And what I'm going to picture is that we're going to lift our hips and our stomach up at the same time, maintaining that neutral spine or low back position. And from there we're going to slowly lower ourselves back down, keeping those toes, heels in contact into the floor, knees in line with the hips. Breathe out to lift up, breathe in to lower back down. What I often find is if we lose the control through the lower part of the tummy, or feel like we just thrusting the hips up, is we then put that lower back in extension, and we then start to feel uncomfortable through that lower back. And we want to make sure that our position through that lower back is maintained. So drawing the tummy in, up we come, keep the stomach engaged and make sure the tummy is drawn in, very gently squeeze those glutes and then slowly lower back down. If you're able to, bring your heels a little bit closer towards your glutes, and same again, breathe out and breathe in, breathe out and breathe in. And the next one we're going to do is we're going to come up and we're going to go up into a hold. We're going to hold it for 5 breaths. So breathe out, we come up. I'm looking for you to engage that lower part of the tummy, keep that lower back nice and neutral, gently squeeze the glutes, and take a gentle breath in, and breathe out. If you choose to, you can have your hands across your chest as well, make it a little more challenging. Gentle breath in, and breathe out. So we go for 3 more breaths. Breathe in, and breathe out. Keeping that lower part of the tummy gently engaged, gentle breath in, and breathe out, gentle breath in, and breathe out, and slowly and safely lower your hips down. Like you bring one knee up towards your chest at a time. From that position we're going to very gently roll from side to side, nice and comfortably in and out. Beautifully done. So one leg down at a time, opposite leg down, and from there we're going to nice and slowly move on to all fours. But like I said, it's going to create a little bit more mobility through the mid and upper back through flexion. And we go into a cat stretch, take a gentle breath in, breathe out to gently lift up, keep your elbows soft, keep your upper shoulders chin down, breathe in to lower back down. Just be mindful as we lower the spine down, we don't drop it too much, we create too much of an extension through that lower back. We breathe out to lift up, breathe in, and you lower back down. Breathe out, and breathe in. And then we're going to take our hands a little bit further away, keeping those elbows soft, relaxing the upper shoulders, drawing the lower part of the pelvic floor in, as we sit nice and comfortably into our glutes, breathe in to come back up. What I'd like us to do is maintain the width through our body as we go down, rather than from that position. If you watch carefully, as I go into that position, I can just collapse to my thighs, losing the width through my tummy and through my hips. breathe out, and reset comfortably in, keeping the width in the tummy, breathe in to come back up. Relaxing into seated position, feet together. So before we go into our hips and glutes a little bit more, we're going to gently pull the knees up, engaging those in the thighs, and then breathe out for those knees to drop down. Breathe in, and breathe out. Breathe in, and breathe out. So really controlling those hips, feel the muscles engage. And on the way down, just go down as far as you feel comfortable. Some of us might feel more comfortable with a pillow underneath our glutes, so it allows us to set it a little more upright, a little bit more comfort through the hips, front of the hips, as well as through the back. So one last one, and down we go. And then we're going to move on to our sides, nice and comfortably. Going to work on lifting up through the side of our torso, keeping our core nice and engaged. What I'd like us to do is keep our knees and feet nice and relaxed. You may start with your hand comfortably in front of you, using your hand to help stabilize. Knees soft, feet soft. I'd like us to draw the pelvic floor in and lift both legs just off the floor. Knees stay nice and soft, feet stay nice and relaxed. From there you could do up to 5 breaths, but it's completely up to you. Take a gentle breath in and breathe out. Gentle breath in and breathe out. Really keep the control through it. Lower part of the stomach, hand can go on the hip if you feel comfortable. Gentle breath in and breathe out. Keep the knees soft, keep the feet relaxed. Gentle breath in and breathe out. Gentle breath in and breathe out. And nice and comfortably lower back down. If you felt like the glutes is working quite nicely, you can just gently rub on areas that feel uncomfortable. Helps to desensitize those areas. From there, I'd like us to come to a seated position. Legs out in front of us. We're just going to stretch out through the side that we just worked on. Keep yourself as tall as you can. Take a gentle breath in and breathe out. Go back down. Move on to the other side. Take your time. Nice and comfortably lying on your side. Make sure your knees stay soft, feet nice and relaxed. You can use your hand in front of you. Draw your tummy in, the pelvic floor engaged, and lift those legs up off the floor. And from there, the hand can get on the hip if you choose. You're able to balance in that position. Otherwise, hold that. Take a gentle breath in and breathe out. 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 And really controlling that position nice and slowly back down. And from that position again we'll sit comfortably onto the side. We're going to stretch out the side that we just worked on. Hold a nice lovely posture through that position. Gentle breath in and breathe out. I'm going to go face down. Now with the face down position, we're going to engage the muscles through the mid and lower back, but all the way through the spine. So the rectus spine is they're really good for maintaining our posture and keeping us beautifully upright. Nice and comfortably to start off with. We're going to have our head nice and comfortably on our fingers, just in that position. We're going to draw the tummy in. What I'd like us to do is imagine you're creating a vacuum and you're pulling away from the floor and just gently pulling up to that lower back. That's going to allow us to maintain a nice position through our movements as we lift ourselves up. So from there, we'll take a gentle breath in, breathe out, draw the tummy in, lift your head up to start, and then nice and slowly back down. Now for some of us that might be challenging enough. Breathe out, draw the tummy in, lift the head up, and if you feel comfortable you can lift your elbows and hands just off the floor and then slowly return back. Take a gentle breath in, breathe out. You could go up just for the head position again, slowly back down, gentle breath in, breathe out, head up, hands and elbows up, keeping that lower part of the pelvic floor in as we lower back down. So really keep going with that. But the real focus from that is before you lift up, you maintain that low back position as you lift your head up, then lift your elbows and your hands up, and safely return yourself back down. The movement doesn't seem big, but it really does work us well through that stomach and through that mid and low back. Really important for us to strengthen these areas. If you'd like to, you can draw your tummy and squeeze your glutes a little bit as well, just to give you a little bit more engagement through that area. And once we're done with that, we're going to go onto our knees and then comfortably sit into our child's pose. We're going to move in and out of that position. You can tuck your toes under if you choose, especially for those of us who are prone to cramping through the bottom of our feet. Nice and gently in and out. I'd like us to move back onto our sides. We're going to engage a muscle specifically that helps stabilize the hip complex and helps with external rotation of the glute medius. We're going to start with is our knees at 45 degrees and draw the lower part of the pelvic floor in just to control that low back position. Hand can go on the glute or hand can go in front of you. Now, with the hand on the glute helps us to, we're controlling that muscle to lift and rotate this knee up. The bottom edge of this foot is going to hinge comfortably on the bottom foot. So from there we're going to breathe out to lift up, breathe in to lower back down. Breathe out to lift up, drawing the pelvic floor in. As we lift up, really helps control that lower back, nice and slowly back down. Breathe out. And breathe in. Some of us won't be able to lift up very high, but even if you start with that position, and you feel that you're just gently palpating that, or just gently sort of pulsing that side of that glute, will help to engage this muscle more. Nice and slowly back up and back down. We could opt for as well, you could keep going with that. You may opt for a bit of an isometric hold. So from there you're going to come up and hold that, and what we'll do is you'll hold it for 3 breaths. Take a general breath in and breathe out. Take a general breath in and breathe out. General breath in and breathe out, and slowly lower that back down. Some of us might feel a real good burn through there. So if that's the case, go ahead and make a side and leg a rub as well as that glute, just to help desensitize it. I'm going to move over to the other side. Then take your time with this one, please. Knees back at 45 degrees. Draw the bottom of the pelvic floor in. Then we're going to hinge off that bottom foot using that glute. Hand in front, or onto the side of your glute. And then from there, breathe out to lift up. Breathe in to lower back down. Breathe out to lift up. Breathe in to lower back down. Real good focus. Making sure we're maintaining that lower part of that stomach, which supports that lower back, hinging off that side of that glute. Again, you can palpate it. Just allows us to focus more on those areas as we're lifting up and down. Breathe out to lift up. Now from there you can continue lifting up and down, or you could go up to the isometric as well. So breathe out, and we're going to do the hold. 3 breaths. Take a general breath in. Breathe out and relax. Take a general breath in. And breathe out. Take a general breath in. And breathe out. And we'll lower down all the way. Again, give that side glute and thigh a rub to help to desensitize. Superb. We're going to move on to our back. And in this position here, we're going to come back up into our bridge. So we're going to keep our spine back nice and neutral. What I'd like us to do, we're going to work on our brace bridge again. So our torso stays nice and level as we lift ourselves up. We're going to hold that position. So tummy view if you're drawn in, glutes are gently engaged. What we're going to do from here is I'd like us to do heel walks. Keeping your toes down, just lifting your heels off the floor. The focus of this here is to maintain a lovely position through my pelvis, keeping them nice and level, and really focusing on a comfortable lift up and down. Again, gently focus with your breathing, as you move in and out of this exercise. You can make it more challenging by crossing your hands over your chest. Really maintaining nice and slowly down. Some of us might even notice that you're getting a nice stretch of the calf on the way down. Comfortably up and down. And from there we'll lower all the way down. Bring again, knees up towards your chest one at a time. And a gentle roll from side to side. We're going to move on to our last exercise for the session. So we lower one leg down at a time safely. From there I'd like us to roll over onto our elbows. Now the further the hands are wider, the more we're going to engage our tummy, but you can have your hands a little bit closer to one another. That's fine. The focus from here is I would like us to imagine we're using our tummy, okay, a gentle tilt through the hips by drawing our tummy in and gently squeezing the glutes. And by doing that, keeping our head nice and level, we can lift our tummy up towards the ceiling. Take a gentle breath in as we lower back down. Breathe out to lift up. Breathe in to lower back down. Real good focus on keeping those shoulders relatively relaxed. If you're starting to feel the shoulders too much, take a breather. Join us when you feel comfortable. Breathe out to lift up. Breathe in to come back down. Like with all things, when we start to do some of these movements, we haven't done them for a while, they do feel uncomfortable to start. And that's only normal because the body does feel that it's having to try and protect something that is feeling unfamiliar to. The more we practice these, breathe out to lift up, the breathe in to lower back down, the more we practice, the more our body starts to recognize the importance and starting to feel a lot more comfortable, and movement will become a lot more enjoyable as well. That's it, and all the way down. What I'd like us to do is going to roll back over onto our back. We can do our leg rolls just to loosen off through some of those areas. Again, palms facing the ceiling, shoulders engaged into our mat. Spine neutral, drawing that lower part of the pelvic floor gently in, roughly around a 10 to 20% engagement. So I always feel like I'm controlling my stomach as I'm moving right to left. Just be mindful we don't relax it and we just drop our legs right and left. There's no real benefit in that. Because we want to make sure that we're controlling these areas as we move right and left. All the way. And relax. I want to thank you for taking your time to go through the session. Please, if you're able to, keep on top of these 2 or 3 times a week, and I'll be looking at posting some more sessions similar to this with a slight variation as well, especially with making sure we get those fundamentals right, starting to understand the importance of how these movements can help us as well develop. So please, if you enjoyed this, like us, and I would be happy to support you in your quest to improve your movement and quality of life. Thank you very much. Bye for now.